Good morning and welcome everyone to the Fund It Fast Chat. I'm Rochelle Butler, Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I hope everyone is having a wonderful start to their week. We are going to get going momentarily, but first, I just got to take care of our housekeeping really quickly. Please make note that all of your microphones have been muted upon joining the call. This is simply to minimize background noise. As always, if you have any questions at all, I highly encourage you, go ahead and drop those questions into the chat box. You can do this at any time during the presentation. We'll make sure to save some time toward the end to address those questions. And next, I would like to invite everyone to go ahead and connect with us. You can do so on any one of our many platforms. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, Spotify, or you can just reach out the old-fashioned way via email or by telephone. If you didn't quite get all of that, don't worry. Just remember that you can access any of our resources by going to our website. That's at sjvcleanenergy.org. Once again, sjvcleanenergy.org. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. During the time we've been doing the Fund It Fast Chat, it's not uncommon that given all the different topics we've covered over the months, some topics may overlap or be related to other topics that we've covered in the past. So I like to take a few seconds here to show you some past Fast Chats where we've covered EV-related topics. For the most part, these are still active programs with the exception of last month's Fast Chat, which was the REACH Multifamily Charging Program. I do believe the application deadline just passed on that. However, there's still really valuable information there, so please check it out. I will be sure to include links to all of these Fast Chats in the follow-up email that will go out later on today. And while you're over there checking out our YouTube channel, please don't be shy, y'all. Like and subscribe to our channel. This helps us a ton, and even more importantly, it helps other people just like yourselves to find our content. Okay, so onto the topic at hand. The Clean Transportation Program Rural Electric Vehicle Charging Program. This program is actually pretty similar to the REACH program that we talked about last month. In fact, they both come from the same infusion of funding, which is the Clean Transportation Program. This sort of overarching program was established by Assembly Bill 118 and has been extended to January 2024. So we're going to continue to see programs coming out of this funding annually over the next couple of years. At minimum, I suspect. We will, or as I mentioned, this program is similar to REACH, so you may hear me draw some similarities between the two during the presentation. The primary difference, though, is that the REACH program focused heavily on multifamily EV charging solutions. The Clean Transportation Rural Electric Vehicle, or REV, that charging program focuses on disadvantaged communities. So I have the program purpose up here on your screen. The purpose is to demonstrate replicable and scalable light-duty electric vehicle charging business and technology models, to increase EV charging access, and to support electric miles traveled and enable greater EV adoption. Kind of a mouthful there. So now that we've kind of laid the groundwork for what this program is and what it's about, let's talk about some timelines here. I realize that a couple of these dates have passed. However, I always make sure to include everything, mainly so you're aware of what resources are out there to assist you through this process. So for example, the pre-solicitation workshop actually occurred last summer. However, the slide deck from that presentation as well as the recording are available. So we'll make sure to provide links to both of those resources in the follow-up email after the presentation today as well. The next important date on the list was that the solicitation was actually released in December, and probably the most important date on the list is the application due date, which is coming up on March 11th, 2022. So if you are considering this opportunity, please get moving as soon as possible. That gives us a little over 6 weeks from today's date to make it happen. Then the next important date or timeline on the list is in May. They are projecting to announce the awardee, so pretty quick turnaround there. Later on in the year, in Q3, we are looking for the CEC, California Energy Commission business meeting to occur and for the projects to actually begin or break ground, if you will. So let's talk about who is eligible to apply for this funding. The eligibility looks pretty much the same as the REACH program. Again, I did say I would draw some similarities between the two, but all public and private entities are eligible to apply. There are a couple of important caveats though. The Clean Transportation Program terms and conditions must be accepted without negotiation. The next kind of caveat, if you will, is that applicants must be registered with the California Secretary of State and be in good standing to enter into an agreement with the CEC. CEC is short for California Energy Commission, for those that may not be familiar. And then the last part here is that applicants are very strongly encouraged to engage with local community-based organizations for the purposes of this grant opportunity. So they really want to see those partnerships come together in these proposals. Now for the fun part, let's talk about the money. The total pot of money that's available through this solicitation is $4.8 million. Now there's actually a minimum award amount, which is $500,000, and the maximum award amount is $1.6 million. There is a requirement for match funding, which is 20%. So in essence, the grant award is 80% of your total project cost or $1.6 million, whichever of those numbers is less. All right, so we talked about the timelines, we've talked about who's eligible and how much money is up for reward. Let's talk about some requirements for the actual projects themselves. The first requirement is that at least 50% of the total project cost must be allocated in a disadvantaged or low-income community. Next, we have that charging stations are expected to have a 97% uptime for a period of 5 years after commissioning. So this is a longer-term project. Chargers must be available at least 18 hours per day. There must be a customer support service as well as multiple point-of-sale methods. And lastly, the chargers must be in a well-lit area with adequate signage. So those are just some of the requirements. The solicitation funding is also divided up by regions. We have North California, Central California, and South California. And you'll see on your screen here a list of counties. Each region here, each of those regions I just listed is eligible to receive up to $1.6 million. I just want to point out though that I don't know if you've noticed right off, you might be super quick, but not all of the counties in California are actually on this list. So because this solicitation is heavily focused on low income and disadvantaged communities as well as rural spaces, there are some counties and cities that are not eligible to apply, unfortunately. But here are some things to kind of remember. This is a competitive opportunity and applicants are able to apply actually for multiple, they're able to submit multiple applications. However, no one applicant would be awarded more than 2/3 of the total solicitation funding. The highest ranked projects with at least a minimum passing score will be recommended for funding until all funds are exhausted. So if you are interested, it's probably best to work as quickly as possible to secure your portion of the solicitation funding. Um, I mean, I think that the funding will probably, as with anything EV, the funding will probably disappear fairly quickly. So just something to keep in mind there. Next, I have here eligible projects. So this is a short list. It's not by any means all inclusive. However, this is just mainly to give folks an idea of what kinds of projects they're looking to fund. So for example, models for widespread strategic development or deployment, fast charging corridors, charging in rural community centers, also things like low power on-site charging, streetlight or utility pole charging, mobile charging. They're also looking for renewable distributed energy resources and energy storage systems. One really big item on this list, though, to take away is that all projects absolutely must include the deployment and the installation aspect of the charger. So it must be a complete proposal. Next, I'm going to touch really briefly on eligible project costs. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to read the whole list in the interest of time. However, there are a couple of important things I would like to just mention briefly. As far as eligible project costs go, of course, all EV supply equipment and charging equipment is eligible. Also eligible are energy storage equipment and solar panels that are specific to support the EV charging. Those are all eligible costs. The planning and the engineering design costs, warranties, and maintenance are all eligible costs. Now, ineligible costs would be, unfortunately, vehicle purchases are not eligible costs through this program, non-renewable distributed energy resources, and projects that are primarily surveys or research projects in nature. So those are kind of some of the biggies that caught my eye. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. However, if you would like to take a deeper dive, I will provide links to all of these resources in our follow-up email later on today. All right, so as with any CEC solicitation opportunity, all prospective applicants are highly encouraged to get registered on Empower Innovation. I have the website here on the slide. I will also include it in our follow-up email, so don't try to rush to jot it down. I will provide it for you after the call today. This tool is a great way to find opportunities, but also, and probably most importantly, it serves as a means to connect different organizations who are working on the same project. So when they're able to combine resources, they can increase their chances for success through this process. So please take a look at Empower Innovation when you have a chance. I believe you will find it a very helpful resource. And finally, that's everything that I have on the Clean Transportation Rural Electric Vehicle Charging Solicitation. So I'm going to take a really quick pause here to take any questions you might have. Once again, if you have any questions, please just take a couple of seconds to go ahead and drop them in the chat box if you haven't already done so. And while folks are working on that, I just want to remind everyone to please look out for our follow-up email later on today. I know I've mentioned it a bunch of times during the presentation this morning. We always get that email out to you on the afternoon of the Fast Chat, usually right after the lunch hour. That email will have links to all of the related Fast Chats I mentioned at the top of the presentation, so you don't have to go searching around for them. That email will also have links to all of the important items regarding the solicitation if you would like to take a closer look. Lastly, take a quick second and add us to your email contacts. We want to make sure that you're receiving our communications so you can stay up to date on what's going on around the partnership, and that email is info@sjvcleanenergy.org. All right, I'm going to take a quick look at our chat box here. And I don't see any questions. I hope that means you guys got all the information that you need and everything was clear and concise for you. I'm going to encourage everyone listening to please share the fast chat with your friends and your colleagues. You never know who might benefit from this information. What's next for the fast chat? We are wrapping up the first quarter of 2022 with microgrids. Surprisingly, we've never talked about microgrids for fast chat before, but they are a really important part of this greater conversation, and I hope you'll join us next month on March 8th. Of course, I hope to see you all for every episode of the Funded Fast Chat, but if you can't make it for whatever reason, we're all busy people, just remember all fast chats are recorded and can be accessed through our website or by going directly to our page on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you have a wonderful week. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Super Bowl Day. I hope you all stay safe and stay healthy. Until next time.